Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out a pair of true wireless earbuds that I'm not going to lie. When they first reached out to me about checking these out, I was very hesitant because it just looks like it could be a niche product, like a very unique gimmick to just draw attention to try to make their pair of true wireless earbuds stand out. And the pair that we're going to check out are the hhogene GPods. Now they do come in both black and white. I have the black model here, and there's a couple of different prices. I saw on Amazon that it's listed at $139, although on their website you can actually pick them up for $125. And essentially what this is a noise canceling pair of earbuds that has lighting effects built on the outside of the earbuds, basically the stem that you see. And it says that it has 300,000 color combinations, and it comes with 4 different shells that you can actually switch out on the outside of the earbuds. This is what allows for some customization. You don't have to use these shells, you can just have the lighting the way that it is, but it definitely gives these a unique look. And one thing that's also interesting is you can go within their app and you can change the lighting to whatever you want. You can even take a picture of your surroundings or an object, or you can use an existing photo and it will pull those colors out and actually put them on the earbuds. So I found this to be pretty unique, and you can also go on their site and buy different shells. In fact, right now they even have Wednesday from Netflix. It has a series based around that. There's also some that's based around Christmas. There's some that are based around different flags of the countries, and there's skulls, and there's more skulls. I noticed that there was a lot of skull designs that kind of look like the Ed Hardy design. But anyway, there's different options to choose from, and they're actually pretty cheap. But I'll have a link to everything in the description so you can check them out. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the earbuds themselves. They do use an app, and this allows to keep these earbuds updated. It has some different EQ options. It also gives you the ability to turn on and off the smart sensors that are on the earbuds. And it also has a Find My Earbud feature so that you can locate them if you just happen to forget where you last had them. Now, as far as some of the other technology, these earbuds do have Bluetooth 5.2, but they only have AAC and SBC playback. So there's no high-end Bluetooth codecs here. And in this price range, I know some people are definitely going to be disappointed in this, but because they have Bluetooth 5.2, I didn't experience any kind of lag with movies or videos. There's a slight lag when it comes to gaming, but it's not too serious. But, you know, this doesn't have a gaming mode or anything you can switch into, so you are going to have that slight lag with gaming. Now, the noise canceling and the transparency mode. Now, this is one feature that, obviously it advertises as having, but the noise canceling is just decent. It's not anything that's strong. It's just kind of barely blocking out lower tones like AC units and engine noises and things like that. But if people are talking, you're going to hear it just as you would having any pair of earbuds in. So the noise canceling isn't very effective when it comes to blocking out noise. Now, I'll tell you later where it is very effective and where I've found it the most useful. And the transparency mode is actually pretty decent. I felt like I was able to carry on a conversation without taking the earbuds out. And I was able to hear my surroundings in a pretty natural way. You can hear a little bit of digital noise that the mics are picking up, but again, it does a really good job of being able to hear your surroundings. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, they do come in with an IPX4 rating, but because these have noise canceling, that's kind of the norm. So it means you're going to be fine if it starts to rain or if they get splashed on or things like that. But this is not one of those pairs that you can submerge into water. Now, as far as what all they've included inside the box, other than the 4 different sets of shells that you can switch between, they do come with 4 sets of silicone ear tips. And as far as the charging cable, it comes with a USB-C cable. And you are going to have to use this cable because this pair does not have Qi wireless charging, which in this price range, I have gotten used to seeing Qi wireless charging. But speaking of the charging, there's actually different levels of battery life on this pair because of the different ways you can use them. Now, if you use them with the lights turned off and the noise canceling turned off, you're going to get about 5 hours on the earbuds and about 20 hours using the case. If you turn the noise canceling on, the battery life drops to 4 hours on the earbuds and about 16 hours using the case. But then if you decide to have the lights on, which is their main selling point with having this pair, that drops your battery life down to 3 hours on the earbuds and about 12 hours using the case. So not very impressive battery life. But there is a fast charge feature on this pair where if you just happen to pick your earbuds up and they're dead, a 10-minute charge will get you about 2 hours of use. So that is definitely nice, especially considering that you're not going to always have a whole lot of battery life in the first place. So being able to get 2 hours on a quick 10-minute charge is nice to have. Now moving over to looking at the case and the earbuds themselves, the case is actually fairly large with this pair. And on the top it has kind of like a warped look to it, which is interesting. But on the back you can see it has the USB-C input for charging. On the front it has one single indicator light. That way you can kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case. And then when you open up the lid, it has a pairing button that's located between both earbuds. But the first thing that you'll notice when you open the lid is the earbud stems where the lights are located is actually showing you that the earbuds are charging. You can see the green light go up and down, but once you open up the case, it already starts to try to pair with the last device that you were paired to. So once it connects, you'll see the colors change over to the last setting that you had. And again, there's different settings that you can change. You can even have it where it kind of changes depending on what you're listening to. So it's like an equalizer. You can see the light ripple up and down. You can have it where the light just breathes in and out. You could just leave the light on altogether. You could turn it off altogether. So there are different options that you can have. Now this pair says it uses touch controls, and it does, but it's technically kind of like the squeeze gesture. It's located on the inside part of the stem, so you kind of have to grab it and just simply tap or double tap or whatever you're trying to do. And it gives you control over everything but the volume. Now, this is another thing that I wish they would have done here, but because it works with an app, maybe this is something that they can add later. But out of the box, you only have your play, pause, your ability to skip your tracks forward, go backwards. You can turn the light on and off, or you can turn it from your transparency mode to your noise canceling mode. But it's definitely lacking volume control, so I wish that they had that on this pair. But this pair does have smart sensors, like I said earlier, so if you do take your earbuds out, it will just automatically pause, and then it'll go back to what you were listening to once you put them back in. Now, as far as the microphones, if you're going to use these for taking phone calls, this is an area where I think these are just okay. I felt like it did a pretty decent job of picking my voice up. And even in noisy environments, I think it blocked a pretty decent amount of that out. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys. So here is a mic test using the GPods, and I think it does a pretty decent job, again, of picking up my voice. I do notice some digital noise, and it does sound slightly warm, but this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. Now, depending on where you look, you know, at the very top of their site, it says it has 11mm drivers, but everywhere else it says it has 10mm drivers. So we're going to say that these have 10mm dynamic drivers. Out of the box, I was not impressed with the sound quality. I felt like it was pretty dull. It just sounded really just lifeless. I mean, there was a good amount of bass there, but there wasn't enough treble to make it stand out. The mids just weren't really doing anything in the mix. It sounded kind of dull, but the sweet spot to these earbuds, and this is what I found from just like messing around with the settings, if you turn the noise canceling on, it adds a really good punch in the low end. I mean, it makes the bass so much different than what it sounds out of the box. And if you also go into the EQ settings and turn on the more treble option, it brightens up the treble quite a bit to make this actually sound like a very good dynamic pair of earbuds. Now, the mids for the most part are left alone, and I think this is completely fine with this pair, because once the bass is boosted and the treble has its brightness, it really makes it sound full. It has a lot of life in the sound, and no matter what genre I was listening to, I had no issue with hearing vocalists, male vocalists, female vocalists. They all had a really nice, clear approach, but it's kind of in the middle. It's not too upfront, but it wasn't back enough that it got lost, you know, if I went and switched over to metal. It didn't get muddy or congested that way. But like I said, the bass on these, once I switched around to these different settings, had a really nice punch. It allowed it to be a little bit loose, so it does have that like subwoofer type of feel. It's not a very tight bass, but you can feel the impact of bass, and it's able to keep up if you're listening to, again, metal, where there's the double bass, the drums. And so the sound quality overall, once you kind of tinker around with it, sounds very very good. But the soundstage and the sound imaging, this isn't a very wide open sounding earbud. It kind of left me feeling like I was in a medium sized room. But as far as being able to tell where sounds are coming from, this pair does do a pretty decent job at that. It's more meant to just be dynamic and be in your face and sound like you have two larger speakers instead of sounding like you're in a large or concert hall with a lot of space. So it really kind of comes down to the consumer. If you want something different and unique, something that stands out, this pair really is that pair. But if you're looking for features like wireless charging, better noise canceling, and the ability to control volume, there's obviously some other options out there. But really what saves these earbuds is the fact that having that noise canceling boost the bass and having the EQ option to boost the treble, it really made this sound like a great sounding pair of earbuds. And in my opinion, it sounds way better than Apple's AirPods. So if you mix that with something that just stands out, it definitely could be worth it to a lot of people. I personally do like to have some of the features that this pair is missing. So, it gives you an option, but there's a lot of other options in this price range. But guys, that wraps up my video on the hhogene GPods. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.